In every monarchy, there are alliances that define eras, quiet partnerships that shape history from behind gilded doors. And in the House of Windsor, a new alliance has emerged, one that few expected and even fewer fully understand. It is not born of blood, but of necessity. It is not sentimental, but strategic. Prince William, Queen Camilla, and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, three names whose bond now anchors the stability of a monarchy in transition. Together, they form the most powerful triad in the royal family today, united not by friendship alone, but by shared duty, survival, and an understanding that the crown's future rests in their hands. Before we dive in, there's something I need to share with you. Over the past few days, thousands have watched these stories unfold, but most haven't subscribed. If you're one of them, I invite you now to join us. Subscribe to Crownverse so you never miss the next chapter in this unfolding royal history. At first glance, their connection might seem unlikely. Prince William, the future king, shaped by the shadow of Diana and the burden of destiny. Camilla, the once vilified figure who became queen, carrying the scars of a long and public redemption. And Catherine, the modern emblem of monarchy's continuity, poised between tradition and reinvention. Each one represents a different generation, a different struggle, a different story of survival within an institution that demands everything but gives little in return. Yet now, together, they have become a singular force, guiding the monarchy through one of its most delicate periods since the end of the Elizabethan age. For King Charles III, the ascent to the throne was both a triumph and a test. After waiting longer than any heir in British history, he inherited not just a crown, but a family divided by distance and public scrutiny. Prince Harry's departure, Andrew's disgrace, and the king's own health challenges have left the monarchy smaller, leaner, and more vulnerable than ever. In this fragile moment, the continuity of the royal institution has quietly fallen into the hands of three figures who embody both legacy and renewal. Their alliance, quiet, pragmatic, and deeply symbolic, has become the monarchy's true center of gravity. Those close to palace life describe a new rhythm to the royal household. The king remains the face of continuity, the seasoned monarch navigating diplomacy and ceremony. But increasingly, the daily pulse of the royal family, the tone of its engagements, the shape of its messaging, the dynamics of its public image, is being managed and reinforced by William, Catherine, and Camilla. What began as necessity, covering for the king's reduced schedule during periods of treatment or fatigue, has evolved into something larger, an informal regency of influence built on trust and shared purpose. The key to their alliance lies not in similarity, but in complementarity. William brings decisiveness and vision, the conviction that the monarchy must modernize to remain relevant. Catherine brings empathy and stability, her calm public image acting as a bridge between the royals and the people. Camilla, meanwhile, offers experience and resilience. Decades of navigating public hostility have honed her instinct for discretion and survival. Together, they represent the monarchy's past, present, and future converging in one shared understanding. Unity is no longer optional, it is existential. Behind the palace gates, this unity has translated into visible cooperation. Joint appearances between William and Camilla, once unimaginable, have become almost routine. Catherine's warmth toward the Queen, both in public gestures and shared causes, has been quietly praised by royal aides as one of the unspoken successes of the king's reign. Their synergy is subtle. Camilla's maturity balances William's drive. Catherine's empathy softens Camilla's reserve. It is not theatrical affection, but professional harmony, a working relationship that has become indispensable to the institution's survival. This collaboration has also carried symbolic weight. It signals to the public that the divisions of the past, the bitter ghosts of Diana's pain and Camilla's vilification, have given way to reconciliation. It represents, in many ways, the monarchy's capacity to heal itself. Catherine's acceptance of Camilla as queen consort was a quiet but powerful gesture, closing a chapter that once defined the emotional fault line of the Windsor family. For William, whose childhood was marked by that same fracture, this alliance is more than political. It is personal, an act of restoration, and perhaps of grace. And yet, beneath the surface of unity lies complexity. These are not simple relationships, nor are they free of tension. William's assertive leadership style has occasionally collided with the more measured approach of his father's court, where Camilla still exerts considerable influence. Catherine's growing popularity, particularly during periods of Camilla's criticism in the press, can shift the balance of perception. Still, what distinguishes this trio is their ability to manage those tensions without fracture. They understand, each in their own way, that monarchy is less about emotion than equilibrium. Disagreements are handled privately, never publicly. In an era of leaks and gossip, their silence is their strongest statement. Observers note that the monarchy's public tone has changed since this alliance solidified. Gone is the languid pace of ceremonial distance. In its place is a sharper, more modern cadence. William and Catherine's initiatives, mental health advocacy, environmental leadership, community engagement, now carry the imprimatur of royal authority once reserved for the sovereign himself. Camilla's influence ensures these efforts maintain the dignity and restraint that define the crown. It is a blending of generational energies, producing a monarchy that feels both contemporary and constant. This alliance also serves a practical purpose. With the king's workload inevitably reduced, the demands of royal representation have intensified for those still active. The public appearances of William, Catherine, and Camilla have been strategically coordinated to maintain visibility without overexposure. Royal messaging has become more unified. Speeches align in tone, causes intersect, and the boundaries between their roles blur. This synchronization is no accident. It reflects the conscious effort to project one image, a family working together, harmoniously, efficiently, and with purpose. Behind this polished image, however, is a deeper strategy. The monarchy's greatest threat has never been scandal or politics, it has been irrelevance. William, Catherine, and Camilla understand that survival in the 21st century demands reinvention, not in structure, but in perception. They have embraced accessibility without surrendering mystique, compassion without vulnerability. Where previous generations relied on pageantry, they rely on authenticity, or at least the appearance of it. The result is a monarchy that feels simultaneously closer and more controlled, more human, yet meticulously managed. This alliance has also changed the balance within the royal household. The old factions, those that once aligned with the late Queen's courtiers or with Charles's longtime advisors, are slowly giving way to a new operational model. William's team, efficient and digitally savvy, has begun integrating with the Queen's staff. The often separate networks of Clarence House, Kensington Palace, and Buckingham Palace are aligning under a shared communication strategy. The effect is subtle but unmistakable. A unified royal voice, preparing for continuity in a world that now expects coherence and clarity from its monarchy.
Critics may argue that such coordination comes at the cost of individuality, yet within the palace, it is viewed as a necessary evolution. The monarchy can no longer afford internal contradictions. every headline must reinforce the same story of stability, family, and forward motion. The alliance of William, Catherine, and Camilla is, in essence, a living manifestation of that story. Each embodies a distinct
narrative thread, duty, grace, resilience, and together they weave the image of a monarchy capable of surviving its own history. Still, for all its strength, this alliance carries risk. The balance of visibility is delicate. Too much prominence from one figure can cast a shadow over another. Too much alignment and individuality is lost. The king, though publicly supportive, must manage the perception that his reign has not already been eclipsed by his son's growing dominance. And yet, that may be the quiet genius of this trio. They allow Charles's reign to continue with dignity, even as they quietly construct the framework of the next one. It is in this duality that the alliance finds its power. They operate not as rivals to the king, but as his reinforcement, ensuring the monarchy's endurance beyond his reign. To the public, it appears seamless. To the palace, it is the most critical collaboration of the modern era. The monarchy, once fragmented by personal rifts, now functions as a disciplined unit under shared purpose. But what happens when the balance shifts? When the inevitable day arrives and William ascends, the alliance will be tested anew. Will Camilla, then Queen Dowager, maintain her influence? Will Catherine's role expand from partner to power in her own right? The monarchy has rarely allowed three such distinct personalities to coexist at the heart of its operation for long. History teaches us that every alliance within the royal family is temporary, functional, until it is fated to fracture. Yet for now, this one endures, holding the institution steady through a period of global uncertainty and generational change. At its heart, the alliance between William, Catherine, and Camilla represents something deeper than strategy. It represents the monarchy's ability to adapt emotionally as well as structurally, to reconcile its past and prepare for its future. Camilla, once an outsider, now serves as the bridge between eras, the living link between Charles's world and William's. Catherine stands as the promise of continuity, her composure and relatability grounding the monarchy in the everyday lives of its subjects. And William, poised and determined, stands as the embodiment of the institution's next evolution. There is an unspoken poignancy in their unity. It is built not on affection alone, but on shared understanding of loss, of scrutiny, of duty's cost. Each has been shaped by public judgment. Each has endured the contradictions of royal life, and it is perhaps that shared endurance that binds them most. In their collective restraint, their practiced composure, they have become the embodiment of monarchy's most enduring quality, resilience. The late Queen Elizabeth II once said that the monarchy must be seen to be believed. William, Catherine, and Camilla have refined that maxim. They know the monarchy must now also be felt, to be trusted, to be relevant, to survive. And so their alliance is not just about power, it is about emotion, perception, and the subtle weaving of legacy into the fabric of modern life. If history remembers the reign of Charles III as one of transition, it will remember this alliance as the engine of that change. The partnership that carried the monarchy through uncertainty, through adaptation, through quiet evolution. The partnership that ensured the crown did not just endure, but remained alive. And perhaps years from now, when William and Catherine sit upon the throne and the era of Charles and Camilla has faded into history, this alliance will be remembered for what it truly was, not a partnership of convenience, but a covenant of survival. If you've watched this far, we'd love to know your thoughts. Can the monarchy truly modernize without losing its heart?
Does this alliance represent renewal or calculation? Share your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this exploration into the hidden dynamics of royal power, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Crownverse, where royal history lives on.